Oh, friends, I don't know if you can see the 4180 out there, but our field work was short-lived. I don't know how much it's rained today, but that pretty well finishes us off for the next few days. So, oh well, there's plenty of stuff we got to work on. We're gonna get started right after this. All right, welcome back. If you haven't seen my videos before, I'm Ross the Oliver Man. Conditions are worsening, I guess you should say. We were plugging right along, and then things are taking a turn for the worse, but that's okay. This tire is gonna go flat, but I'm not gonna fix it till it does, because, you know, stuff and things. I used that earlier, and now the rain, it got rained on, that's what I'm saying. Let's take you out here and assess the, well, first of all, it breaks my brain when the grass doesn't get mowed, but if it's rained on all the time, I can't mow it. You'll notice our two front tires, both flat as a pancake after mowing in the dark. You know, we got, every time you mow, you're gonna have flat tires, so that's real handy. I should get a set of those Amish-made steel wheels and bolt on to do that. But it's okay because we destroyed this too, which wasn't clear in the dark. We're gonna have to get a different U-joint, and then we're gonna have to make sure. To me, that looks like it's a little bit sprung apart, which ain't no big thing. We can probably squeeze her together, make that go one more time, I hope. This is external snap ring variety. I'm a little worried about this side because it looks like it's been mangled a little bit. It almost looks like the snap ring groove portion broke off of there. So I don't know, that might be junk. We might have to get a whole nother shaft. I was going to take it off of here to see. It looks like PTO 6 splines. Maybe I can just get a whole assembly and be done with it. But what I don't know, and I need to know before I do anything like that, is I need to pull that off of there so I can see that that for sure has the cut in it. You know what I'm talking about? Like for a spring pin. Because I'm pretty sure every replacement shaft you get has like a spring pin affair on both ends. So that would be good to know. And if we go that route, it might be better anyway, because this one's kind of wore out in there, wobbly like. And Buddy the dog, what are you doing? Huh? Okay, you're busy. Sure. We might be able to get one that's a more better length match to what we got going here. I don't know why this one wouldn't have been, but I just felt like it had a lot of slop in it when it was extended. So maybe that's the first thing we need to do today in this affair of failure that we're gonna fix. I've got a lot of stuff we can fix. It's just, what do I want to do first? And some of the stuff with the welding is gonna have to be like me move the generator over there and run the welder, because whatever. There's a welder in the service truck, but it hasn't run in several years, and I don't like the way I mounted it in there. I should have mounted it close to the back so I could get to it easy instead of having to climb in there and do it, but whatever. Anyway, what I was getting at is there's plenty of stuff to fix. We got to work on the tractor too. The welding has popped loose on the floorboard, and my fat self is going to die if I keep trying to get on there like that. I knew that that would probably happen someday because this affair was a last minute ordeal. I got these steps at an auction for next to nothing, and you know, Grandpa couldn't get on here, so I put them on there as easy as I could, and I don't like this. It's just the way it's been. So what I'd like to do is take that off, fix this, and then I would like to try to heat and bend this vertical so that I might use some of those mounting bolts there and just get a longer a longer bolt. But another problem is this immediately becomes not flat. You see how they made that? And so that will also add to the sadness effect of making anything work the way that I think that it should. It would involve possibly putting holes in off center. Also, I don't know that we would need all 3 holes. I would say that 2 of the holes would be adequate. Would you not, for a step? I mean, I know they got a lot of weight on them, but the important thing I'm getting at is those bolts have to be tight. They have to stay tight or it's going to start breaking loader stuff, you know. So that's why I don't really want to tamper too much. I don't know what they were thinking here, because this is a pretty far way off the ground without that step, you know. So, I mean, we did it for years, but it was a lot. So, yeah. Now, this turns out that this, like what they did, is plug weld it, and it's spot welds, I believe, as far as I can tell. I can actually see the outline of holes on the underneath. And I'm not real sure. I was hoping to just fix it right on the tractor, but maybe that's not the thing to do. What I was really going to do is I'd like to get those popped out of there and maybe just drill a couple holes where they are through this brace and bolt it to it. Because, I don't know. I mean, spot welding, yeah, fine, that works, but it would just be much easier, better, / handy convenience if a guy, it would be more secure if you'd drill a hole through and put a bolt in it, you know. But if we fix our step situation, then it's not going to be like it was before. It should never break again, because it won't put any pressure on anything. Now, being a slob like I am, this floorboard is totally covered with crap. That's the way it's always been my entire life. Look at that. It's even got metal down in there that would flatten tires. That's been on there for who knows how many years. There used to be, and I was thinking about that the other day, and I wonder where he put that, because there's times when it would be handy. But there used to be, hanging on this for years, right on this handle, a homemade clevis that had like a square box tubing part that slid over the drawbar. And what we used it for was, if you used that tractor to run the auger, you would hang that right on this, and then that would hold it wide open. And so, yeah, but I was thinking about that the other day. I wonder whatever happened to that, because it's kind of long gone. Now, I'm just pumping myself up, friends. Pump yourself up. I need the, where did I put those tools? They're in the pickup, which the pickup's right up there. And man, it's one of those days again where it's like, you think you need a jacket because of the rain, but it's too hot for that. So we'll take that off. I'll go get tools and we'll start pulling stuff apart. I think we'll start with that bush hog just so I can have the facts that I need, and then we will potentially order something tonight. But this is going to be no fun, because I bet if I go underneath, oh my goodness, look at all that mud and nastiness. So I could just take that bolt out and take the brace off and work at both sides of this. I think that these would knock out of there myself, and I wonder if they weren't. No, they were welds, but I don't know. You see how that has, like, it almost looks like a bolt, but it's not. So maybe I need to clamp it to this and then try to punch that out and see if it comes out and what becomes of it, you know. I don't know. There's no right or wrong here, I guess, but I'm sure that you'll tell me I'm doing it wrong no matter what I do. Let me go grab some tools and we'll make some stuff happen. All right, let's start with this bush hog. Because in theory, this should be the easiest thing. Put you about right there, maybe. Let's start with the tape measure, just to get some idea. I'm going to say that closed length, I don't know how they measure that, probably by where the PTO is to the back of the yoke. I don't know. So that would be, that adds about 8 inches on each end. So let's go to here. So 3 feet tube length, and then another 16 inches. So that would be 36, 46, 56, no, 52, right? Is my math right? Math hard. 36 plus 18 inches should be 52, if I'm thinking right. Let's see if the calculator agrees with me. 54. I was close. That's fine. So 54 inches closed length. Now let's see what it actually is from the tire takeoff on the tractor to back here. 54 and 68. 54 and 68 are two numbers that get us close. And I don't know, I looked kind of the other day what my choices were, but nothing concrete. Let's see. So like if I went with this one I was looking at the other day, it would be 1 3/8 6 spline on both ends, collapsed length 47, extended length 60. That would not be enough, right? Because I said it had to be 68, unless they measure it by the tube, in which case that would be long enough. So I need to find out when I order, before I order, how people are measuring things. Let's take a look at this one. Yeah, see, it looks like one of the common sizes is 43 to 61, and that's not, I would rather have more. You can always saw some off. You can't ever put any back on. But I don't know, they might do a different type of, measuring. Like they may, I need to find some place that has the specs and shows how they're measuring what they measure. Center, I would say from the cross center to the cross center would be the thing, and that's the way, like this one says, it says 52 inches from cross center to cross center. So that's right in the neighborhood of where we were. Compressed 52 from cross center to cross center. So this one is compressed length 60, extended length 86. And I think that would be like what I want. Compressed length 60. And I'll see, I'm sure there's more different choices. But I mean, what I want is, I want it to be able to flex when it goes together, but I also don't want it to be extended to the max all the time. So if I use this as a guide, right now as it sits from cross center to cross center, it's 60. It's 60 from cross center to cross center, extended length. So collapsed, it would be a lot less than that, and I don't know that I really want to collapse it all the way, but I guess I can. It slides easy enough. Collapsed is 43, so I bet that the 43 to 61 is what this was, if they're all measuring it from center to center of cross shaft. Because if I had that one that was like collapsed length was, what did it say, collapsed length was 60, that's too long. And then the extended length was like 80, that's not gonna work. So center to center of this is 60 when it's running, and collapsed length is, we said, like 43. So I'm saying these numbers out loud for me, not for you as much, so that I can remember when I forget after a while. But I would think, and I don't know that for sure, I mean, if that's what's on here, I guess that's what I could put back on here, but I'm thinking, like, if I could get one that was like a couple inches, between 2 and 4 inches longer, then that would make it less prone to shakiness. Because you see how much extended length we have. We don't necessarily need it to be that much exposed. You know, if it was made to be longer, it could be like this tube could go till about there, and then that would be plenty travel on turns, you know. So I don't know. If I went that route in my thinking, I would want like compressed length to be 44, 45, and then extended length to be more than that, you know, like 60, 68 or whatever. I don't know. I'm just talking because I don't have a problem with replacing U-joint, but the fact that that's mangled and the fact that I wasn't really happy with the way that it was telescoping anyway, I don't have a problem with just go ahead and buy a different one now. Model 205. We'll look up and see if we can find a parts book that tells me how much that it's actually supposed to be or what they call that. Anyway, that was a fun trip down Nonsense Lane, wasn't it? Let's see if we can get this off of there so that we can make sure that this is really going to work, what I got in my mind. Because if there's no cutout in that shaft, we need something that has a bolt hole through it, or we're going to have to put a bolt hole through it. And that's too big. I knew that. I knew it when I grabbed it, but I did it anyway because I thought, hey, maybe we'll luck out. All right. That was really doing a great job, wasn't it? Look how mangled that is. It's okay. Let's see if this will pull off of here now. Get off of there. Get on. And that is a negative. As suspected, I just knew that that would not have what we needed. It doesn't have a cutaway, so we have to have a yoke that is 6-ply with a bolt on it, or we got to reuse that. So we'll do some digging and see what we can come up with. But my thinking was, if I was going to replace this, I get one that had a clutch, because that is kind of helpful. Like, this wouldn't happen to me again. If you accidentally hit a piece of wood mowing in the dark because you can't see it because it washed out there and it was in a bunch of thorn bushes and stuff, that it would not put all of the pressure on the U-joints. It would take some of it onto the clutch. So anyway, whatever. That told me what I need to know. Now we'll go over and get into some more sadness before it starts pouring down rain, because I'm sure that's what's about to happen, because I hear the rumblings of thunder and I see the sky of sadness. So how do we want to proceed? Well, fix. Nope, didn't work. I guess we'll proceed by taking this off, because if I keep using that, I'm going to end up ripping the whole thing off the tractor and then causing more trouble. So I might as well take it off first. And maybe first we'll see if we can make this do the thing up here. If what I can do, which will be fine because this is super thick steel, if I can get that bent 90 degrees, what I could do is drill the holes offset to one side so that they clear that bend. I was hoping I could just use holes that, like one hole that was there, but I'm almost positive it's not going to work out that way for me, because life doesn't do that, you know. And it might be better to just not go into it with the idea of that anyway, of using, because it won't work out. But I think if I I think if we use our wits about us, we can get this to do what I want. But we have to make sure when we're done that those bolts are super tight, because I don't want to ruin anything else in the process. All right. This one should be a 3/8 bolt. So this is a very low budget production. I bought this at an auction and slapped it right on there so that he could keep riding it, and I didn't overthink it. I did think about doing what we're going to do today, but then I thought that's a lot of work. Why don't I just bolt it through a hole? And that's what I did. And apparently, oh, it's bigger than that. Okay. That's okay. So that would mean that it's probably 5/8 and 11/16. Right? Yep. Because it's a 7/16 bolt. So oh, it's actually, is that actually going to come loose without any struggle bus whatsoever? No, there's the struggle bus. It's getting tighter. I've also been bidding on something on an auction today, and I should probably check in and see how that's doing, although at this rate, I'd say they're going to be selling till 10 o'clock at night, because there's a lot of stuff still not sold. And the thing that I want is like a few from the end, which is a shame, because if it had been towards the beginning, I might have bought more, you know? If you're going to make the trip to go get it, wouldn't it be better to fill the trailer? Whoa. Okay. I think I gave like $5 for this step at an auction. Nobody wanted it, and it was perfect. It comes off of a John Deere. Why wouldn't it go back on a John Deere? But I think if I would just heat this up somehow and try to bend it like there, now it's going to start raining, so it's going to shut us down. But what I'm getting at is, I was hoping that I could heat it and bend it, because in my mind then this would remain stronger as one piece than if I just cut it off and weld it. Because what we're going to have to do is, once we get it 90 degrees either way, we're going to have to gusset it somehow, I think, to keep it from wanting to bend, fold these under, you know. But I was hoping, like, and we won't know until we really won't know how that's going to work until we get it where we want. I can kind of do some of this by eye, but I'm not very good at that, maybe, to know where I want. Okay, like the step. That would be like 3 inches away from here or so. That would put the edge of the first step right here. And you can see that that would be, like, let's go there, because the bolt head thickness is about the same thickness as this. So 3 inches from there, it would be kind of underneath of this a little, the first step. But then, of course, our height will determine how close it is to this. But I think that would be acceptable of where I want this, because I don't want it sticking way out wide. You know, that's a negative for me. We don't want that. But I don't know if I can really do that or not. What I'm thinking, what I might have to do is cut the back halfway, heat this up, fold it straight, and then weld the gap shut. I've done stuff like that before. Then it would be kind of the best of both worlds, kind of connected, but kind of whatever, and it will be easier to bend, because this is like 1/2 inch thick steel. That's not going to be easy to bend, but it is going to make a very nice step. And like I said, if I drill the holes off center, or alternatively what I could do is perhaps grind the back a little bit to make up for this if I find that it's hitting, and then everything would work. But I guess that's going to be a project for another day, because it's starting to rain and I am not willing to get sick over fixing a step, even though that has to become kind of a priority because I use this every day, and I don't need to fall and kill myself and break a leg. That's why I thought we need to just fix this now. So anyway, I guess I'll bring you back when it's not raining, because like I said, I'm not into getting sick for no reason when I could just wait a few hours. There's nothing, it's basically the end of the day. There's not much more I'm gonna accomplish, so if that's it for today, that's how she rolls. But I'll bring you back. All right, friends. Next day, I've been into all kinds of stuff, including using this tractor enough that the tire is now totally flat, so gotta fix that. But let's take a look at my rendition so far here. We're not done. I just got this mounted up there, and I didn't want to put all my weight on it because I didn't want to bend it before I get it welded, but I think that's going to be what I had envisioned. So what I got to do now is drill a second hole to match up with that other one in the watch-me there, and then I have to weld the back side of this, because if you can see how I did it, I had to cut the back part way and then heat it so that I could fold it over. So we'll weld that up. I probably should, I mean, maybe it would never fold back down, but I don't know if I should like cut some little triangles to fit in there somehow and gusset this. You know, I don't know. I don't know if that's what I want to do. I have this chunk left over I could do something like that with. I don't really want something obnoxious like that, but maybe I'll just try it the way it is after welding, and we'll see how that holds up. And if it doesn't hold up, then I guess I'll have to add something, redo it and add something. But it's tempting to just saw off a little chunk of this and tuck it in there from, you know. However, I don't know. Let's get it partially done, and then we'll decide what we're gonna do. See, then we also have to fix this still. We haven't got that done yet. We just have been into other things, friend. Let's take this back off. Do we want to take this back off? We better take it back off. It occurs to me that actually we're going to have to do some measuring and then cut a slightly larger hole probably, because the first of all, that's what they did on this bracket. These holes are not very nicely clean, or somebody's reamed them out over the years like when they installed the loader. But we're gonna have to have a little wiggle room to get this perfect, because I just bet we won't get it perfect, is what I'm saying. So let me grab the tape measure and see if we can maybe pinpoint what we think is the spacing, and then we could drill a hole, and then we could make that hole bigger. You know what I'm saying? All right. These holes I would call 3 3¼ center to center. I would say 3¼ center to center. Let's see if we can transfer these marks and let you see it at the same time. Probably not. I'm gonna say 3 3 see how we did. I think it should be a little more. I don't know how I missed it, but let me go slightly more. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. I will drill a pilot hole. Ooh, how it makes me wonder. I just had a thought. How close do I think I got? What if I were to? I can still do this trick, I'm thinking. I just may not have it straight. Like, what if I do this? And use the tractor as a holding fixture, friends. I will drill the hole now in my punch mark. And you're saying, why not use the drill press? Well, because then I have to move the I have to move the generator, which I got to do anyway for the welding, so I don't know why I don't just do it now, but come on, baby. Well, that sucked. I really should get me some oil. Let's see here. Why not some appropriate cutting oil? You know, we actually have that. Oh man, bugs are crazy this year. I just felt something crawling on the back of my neck. All right, part one. Part one. I used a step drill bit. I have to drill from both sides if using this because of the way that they are. I'd say we're about out of battery. Let's see if this one's got any. That one's got none. How can that have none? It shows 2 bars. Okay. Try this one. How are we doing here? Okay, let's go to the, we'll flip it over. We'll do the other side. We're down to 1 battery again. That's nice, isn't it? All right, that I think I'm happy with. I want to get longer bolts though, if possible. That bottom one seems kind of sketchy, like the threads in the tractor don't seem very good, and I don't want to ruin it. So if I could get longer ones to go slightly back in, because you got to think that's a, I mean, that's a 1/2 inch right there. So that's a noticeable difference, you know. I took off the lock washer and then it seemed like it was going to tighten up better. So that's why if I get one that's bolts that are like a 1/2 inch longer, then we know that they're just like what they were. But I like this a lot more better looking. I mean, it looks like it was kind of supposed to be that way, you know. So for now, I think we're going to move on and we'll do the rest of our stuff. We'll finish that up later. I wanted to see if I could maybe address this. And I don't know how I want to address it. I guess what I want to do is maybe get the angle grinder and try to grind this weld off, or smooth. You can just practically see the outline of where they went through that hole. And it just makes me wonder if a guy couldn't punch it up out of there. But I feel like that's going to probably create more of a mess. I don't think I can drill through it. Plus, even if I do, I'd want it to be flat so I could put bolts through it. So, because I'm pretty well set on, I'm going to figure out where it needs to be, like in that neighborhood, and then just drill through these holes and put a couple bolts in there, because then it will stay more positively engaged, you know. I guess I could weld through there again, but that just seems like, I don't know. We could always do that. We can bolt it, and if we don't like it, we can go back later and do the thing. But I like how this turned out. I should have done this years ago, friends, you know. I should have done this the right way the first time. It even tightened up in there pretty well flat. I mean, I guess the bend doesn't start till about right there, so I I managed to get around it without too much hassle. So, and I managed to reuse one existing hole, so I didn't have to really ream that out too ridiculously much. But I don't know. I like the way it turned out. I think we're good. I'm gonna have to get a pipe wrench or something and try to bend this corner back up. I don't remember how I did that, but I do remember doing that. I think a log or a stick, something came between the wheel and the fender and got jammed on that and bent it down. So we'll get that pulled back up, and I'll go hunt for a pipe wrench, and I'm gonna hunt for the angle grinder. I know where the one is that's got the cutting wheels on it, but I should have one around here that's already got the grinding wheel on, so I don't have to change, and all I gotta do is just do the thing, you know. Take that down a little bit flat, and then see if we can drill through it, or decide what we're gonna do, or I don't know. I was hoping maybe, like, if I manipulate a little bit, I could get those welds to just fall out of whatever was there. Because yeah, like I said, you can almost see the outline of the hole. So, I don't know. Let me go get some more tools. We never have enough tools. And then I'll bring you back, and we'll get this hopefully wrapped up enough. Ooh, I just see that there. Never knew that was like that. That must have been, I bet that took a tree to it at some point, and so he welded her up, adjusted it where he wanted it, and welded her down. So maybe I need to be looking for another clutch rod for this, for the future. There's a homemade something. How has that not fallen out over the years, you know? Interesting. All right. Yeah, you got to put up with the generator noise, because that's what I'm working with right now. Probably should have brought a punch or something. Is this one gonna miss? Boy, that's... Wonder if I could just drill through it. think we're going to try that. Alright. Let's sort through our tool pile here. So what you want to do is arrange all your stuff in a nice pile. That's fine. This isn't even the good drill. I don't know what I did with the good drill. This is the one that's got the one jaw is whoppered. One of them sticks out like a buck tooth. All right. I almost leaned against this, which is my cell phone. That's probably not smart. But what we essentially need to do, I bet that's going to cause us issue. We need to hold that up against there because right now, see, it's pulled away. I want it where it really belongs, which is like there. But I don't think I can hold it there. I could clamp it, maybe, if I had a good vice grip that would open correctly. All right, I got a rickety C-clamp vice grips. Will it be enough? I got another trick up my sleeve if it's not. Almost. It's getting there, but not quite. Let's see if that would... Okay, now. Kinda, sorta, aorta. Let's actually move it over. Don't we want to, or do we want to do original? It's usually pretty hard to drill through a weld. He said as he drills through a weld. Come on. Well, what you're going to want to do is just coat the whole thing. That's what I was afraid of. I was afraid of the exact thing happening. Come on. Okay. Now we have to reset because we're not... Boy, that's exactly where it was. That is exactly where it was. See, it's gonna wander. Ooh. Another thing happened there, friends. I wallered out the hole in the top piece a little. Let me go get some of those bolts from a viewer. Let's use those for now. Okay, bolts from a viewer. I think that's going to work. It's not too obnoxious. I thought about using carriage bolts. That would simulate what was there, kind of. But let's see. Let's see. Can't see what I'm doing. It's fine. How's that tightening up on there? Adequately? I can live with that. Now we need to drill another one right about there because the bracket is at an angle, if you didn't gather that. So in order to be in the center of it, we've got to be something like that. What helps is if you just full bore slam the tools. Who cares? You know, that's perfect almost though. Perfect in the center of that bracket. I'm guessing they didn't do that because they thought it was unappealing, maybe. Seeing bolts at an angle. I don't know. Or what's going to bother me now, and it's not going to make sense to anybody else, but I bet you when I rest my foot on this floorboard, I'm going to notice those two bolts and my foot's going to catch on them. There we go. Much more solid-er. Much more. Okay, friends. Let's take it all in. We just need to do some welding and get 2 new bolts that are a 1/2 inch longer, and we'll be in business. We can get on here easy, and there's plenty of room here where that, if something gets hooked on the tire or whatever, it shouldn't get wedged in between there like it could before and start bending stuff. So that's pretty snazzy. The only thing I'm not sure about, and it's been this way my entire life, and I don't know what the thing is, but see this black brace here is for the toolbox, which I have in the pickup. I carry it with me. And what I'm puzzling on is he's always had it with 1 bolt, and that doesn't seem right. And I wonder what the thing is. I bet I should use that hole and the slotted hole, and then I could have it mounted in both of those. But then maybe the thing was hitting the back, and maybe that's why he did it like that. I don't know. I bet what originally was, I bet that plate mounted up here somewhere, and since it's got the loader, you can't do that thing because then it's in your way. That would be my professional guess, but I need to look in the operator's book and see where that originally was, because I have no idea. It's been hanging there just like this my entire life. And another reason why he might have done that is because of, I don't think that would have mattered so much though, but whenever he wanted to clean out the barn, he would take the roll guard and the fenders off as one because of the way they're bolted through there. So he would just tie up the roll guard to something and drive out from under it and leave that hanging, and I'm pretty sure he would take it loose right here, this floorboard piece, and so then this one would stay behind, but the filler piece would stay with the fenders. And so that really wouldn't have interfered with that either then. I don't know. So we'll experiment with that one day too. Maybe put that back, because it's getting kind of floppy and then it gets into stuff, and I don't like that. I don't want it to get tore off of there. So I don't know. If it has to be like this, like I said, we might have to drill another hole. Okay, you're getting too hot, but we got holes there. We got holes there. There were some more. We're probably gonna have to put more air in because it's already let the air out, but there's 3 places that have problems, and I only found 1, so, and I haven't got it out of there yet. So we're gonna have our work cut out for us in this one. Looking at this hole and this hole could have been caused by the same thing when the tire was flat and I drove on it a little bit too long. But this back one, we probably need to check that one out. It's pretty well opposite the valve stem, back and to the left. So that one is actually more sidewall-ish. And I didn't feel anything other than that one big one, which you'll see in a minute. The one that I saw go into the tire. Yeah, I'm betting that some of what we had there is because of driving too long. But there's the one. You see this thing? That's the butt of it. I watched that go in and then break off. So that one actually is big enough that I might try to push it out from the inside. Usually you just gotta go all the way through. I'm gonna try it and see what happens. I'll go get something to push, pocket screwdriver or something, and see if I can't get that out of there, because if I try digging on it, it's just gonna break up and not come out. But I think we can get it. I think this was just a, like I said, I know why it went flat. And then the tube's got more holes in it now, because what I did was I unloaded the trailer, and when I put weight on the loader, the tire smushed down flatter, and I have a feeling that's what finished it off there. So yeah, we'll get this out and then we'll see what happens. It's coming out, friends. Look at that. Look at how hefty that is. And basically that's a plant. I mean, it's a stick. It's a thorn off of a tree, and that's all it takes to flatten the old tire. And when it's stuck in one spot in there and the tube moves around any, why, it just keeps poking more and more holes, and then you're had, you know. Oh, can we get it without having to fire up the air compressor again? I bet not. I bet not. I bet I don't quite have enough air. We'll let it sit a minute. Be patient. If we have to do this many more times, I need to just put a zipper on this tire. Almost. We might get it. We might get it. Let's see what we got. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Let's put the cap on. Let's get this out. I want to put it on the ground, so tomorrow I'll be able to tell immediately if I did the right thing or not. Because if the tire's smushed down flat, then we know we didn't get it. Okay, we'll pick up our stuff later. I'm wore out. So, we accomplished a lot of our tasks here. We got the floorboard fixed. We got the step remade. We just have to finish that up. I'll get some more bolts tomorrow, so I need to probably take one with me here. And then the only thing I got to do yet is weld, and we might have to revive the welder in the service truck, because I just realized that this generator, I got to see if Dad's got an adapter that he made to run his welder with this generator, because it takes those twist lock plugs, and I don't have that. So I was thinking that he made an adapter, but I don't even know that his adapter will fit my stick welder, because you know, there's different types of 220 plugs, and so it is what it is, friends. But we can get the one in the truck going. It's very difficult to use, because like I said, I mounted it in front so it was under the roof, but then you got to crawl in there to start it. Or if you want to change the, you know, heat settings and whatnot, so it's not really convenient. I should have done something different, but that was sort of a starter welder. If I had to do it over, I would get one that was a bigger one, and then I thought about mounting it on a track where you could slide it to the back when you wanted to use it, but I don't know. Not important. The important thing is we got the most difficult thing done here, and all we got to do is run a couple beads of weld, and then we're going to try it like that for a while. If we feel like it's not going to hold up, then I guess we will figure out how to gusset that, you know. I don't know that we really have to. You're only on it for a second. It has to hold my weight, which my weight is quite a lot, especially on the bottom step, I guess, pivoting. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I'm pleased with what we got so far. As long as our tire is up tomorrow, I will still be pleased. If it's not, I'll be sad. But it ain't the first time, friends, that something like that's happened. So, yeah. Anyway, this worked better than I had hoped. And so we should probably call it a day while we're having some amount of success. So until next time, friends, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.